everyone. This is Matthew Brand. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for tuning in. And I want to talk about red flag words, and one in particular, actually. I'll talk about others later. But one, if you watch political conversations, sometimes it's a politician talking about laws they want passed, or sometimes you're talking about politicians or political speakers, more often on their opinion of certain laws where they fall in. One of the most important things to listen for is certain red flag words that pop up, and sometimes they kind of ease through. And I wanted to bring a little light to those, so at least you can be skeptical of it. I'm not trying to. Once again, I'm in the middle, and I don't want to sway people to one side or the other. I actually want them to sway them to the middle so that they can, be more aligned with reality and what makes them happy instead of being sycophantic or ideologues grabbing onto one particular side. And for me, this main red flag word now is safety. If you hear something about safety, whenever the government says something, oh, we have to make this safer or that safer, it's almost always just another, either a money grab or they're scratching someone's back. The government, for one, is hardly able to promise safety. Most of the time, the government responds after the fact. They can't really they can do things to make stuff safer, but usually that's not a government alone job. Communities, neighborhoods, culture, and incentives have to be put in place to make things safer. But if you have just the government saying, "Oh, we're going to pass this law," laws rarely make people safer. Actually, usually less laws, depending on certain circumstances, make people safer than imposing another law, and healthier, happier too. Let's give an example. Let's say you have a city and it's impoverished. Now, it's a lot of people in the city have thought of ways, and I'm speaking from familiar experience, right? A lot of people in the cities have thought of ways, oh, I'm going to, open up something to, get out of my situation, say a hot dog cart. And I used to talk to a guy who all the time he wanted to open up a hot dog cart. Well, he found out later that that hot dog cart had to be a specific type of hot dog cart. That's number one. Number two, you had to basically have a bunch of permits for the hot dog cart, and there are all these regulations on the hot dog cart to the point where the hot dog cart didn't seem like it was going to make any money anymore. Now, from the outside perspective, rather than a man going outside with a homeless sign saying, hey, can you please donate money, wouldn't it be nicer if he could just open up a hot dog cart, or if some little kids could open up a lemonade stand, or, just something similar like that, or somebody could resell pops on the side of the road, or chips. All of these things, and even though I'm just giving food examples, all of these things sound harmless, but there's so many permits, regulations, and stuff set in place to prevent but they were all put in place for people's safety. Because after all, if a little girl's selling lemonade on the street, well, how do we know it's safe and up to code? You don't. How do you know she wasn't, sticking her hand and swirling it around like National Lampoon's Family Vacation? Or I don't know if it was family or Christmas vacation, but you get the point. We don't know that. But there's a certain level of personal liability involved when someone does that. One is to protect the business so people don't get too happy on them. But mostly it's protect bigger businesses who can afford to pay that toll so they don't have to do it. And they disguise these bills and laws in the form of safety. It doesn't help anybody. So next time you hear a politician talking about safety, or a political speaker talking about safety, oh, we have to make things safer for the kids, or oh, we have to make things safer for, they don't really care that much. Now, sometimes, in some instances, it makes sense, but usually that's in terms of maintenance. For example, if you take a road and it has a lot of potholes in it, well, you can make it safer by filling up the potholes, but that's something you're supposed to do anyway. Or if there's a lot of crime in the area, you can make the area safer by busting the crime, but that's something they're supposed to be doing anyway. New laws don't have to be passed to prevent that. It's just usually the government is not doing its job. So to excuse the fact they're not doing a job that they already are supposed to be doing, they try to say, oh, well, it's the law's fault. We need to create more laws. And that's usually not the case. Well, anyway, thank you for tuning in. If you like or agree with what I'm saying, let me know. But I think some type of waiver, in a lot of instances, could be signed. For example, if you want to go to a restaurant and they're not permitted or whatever, or you want someone to do your hair and they're not a professional barber, or if you want someone to give you a massage and they're not a professional masseuse, all of those things can be simply just washed over with a waiver. Why could you not just say, sign a waiver and say, hey, I know this person isn't a professional masseuse, but I like them, I trust them, I'm willing to try it out, and if I get hurt, that's on me. A lot of people aren't going to get hurt during a massage. Not a lawyer, don't take my word for it. You do that at your own risk. However, a lot of people give each other massages in the privacy of their own home to their friends, their family, their lovers, whatever. And they turn out fine. So why couldn't you pay some other, dude or gal $20 to give you a massage and call it a day? And say, oh, they're not a licensed masseuse. Well, sign a waiver. Why does that masseuse have to go risk going to prison or jail, or incur huge fines, or the same thing for like a haircut technician or something like that, incur these huge fines and risk, jail time, all because they're just trying to get ahead. And most of the time they're doing something, haircut. Let's say they're limited to cutting hair. They don't give perms, but they're limited to cutting hair. This stuff's going to grow back anyway. Painting your nails, same thing. Could they be using lead paint? It's possible, but it's very unlikely. And most of the time, like I said, there's nothing you can do to stop that. You can only come later after the case has already been solved. For example, if a legal nail place decides to use lead paint, who's going to stop them? There's nothing to stop them. They choose to do it, and once that's done, it's done. But if they get caught doing it, then the legality come in later and stop them. You could just say, instead of saying, oh, they can't paint nails, just say it's illegal to use lead paint. Most people should know that, and the people who don't know that don't care. And that's just how it works when it comes to laws and the word safety. Be careful when you hear that word. I'm not saying that it's always a lie, but it's definitely a red flag. And I hope you tune in next time. Thanks for commenting.